Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will analyze the Pakistani terror plan which was foiled in Nagrota. The Pakistani terror plan foiled in Nagrota in Jammu and Kashmir was a huge one. This is becoming clear given the seriousness being shown by the government. The government of India today lodged a strong protest with Pakistan over it by summoning Pakistan's charge d'affaires in New Delhi to the External Affairs Ministry. The acting High Commissioner was summoned a day after the issue was discussed at a top-level meeting held by Prime Minister Narendra Modi. After the meeting, PM Modi tweeted that Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed terror outfit was behind the plan. In the agenda today, we will try to analyze this and related matters. We have with us retired diplomat Ambassador Ashok Sajanhar and retired Brigadier Vinod Datta. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
It did not get over with the killing of 4 terrorists in Nagrota in Jammu and Kashmir on November 19. The terrorists of Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed outfit left behind telltale signs which proved that they were Pakistanis who had freshly infiltrated to carry out some major attack somewhere in Jammu and Kashmir. After terrorists were killed in the Nagrota encounter, what was recovered from them besides arms and ammunition, including a digital mobile radio and medicines which were made in Pakistan. In fact, there were messages on the digital mobile radio in which the sender was asking the terrorists where they had reached, what the situation was and whether they faced any problems. The medicine strips recovered show markings of companies of Lahore and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa in Pakistan. Tags on the pants worn by terrorists and markings on the shoes also pointed to the Pakistani connection. With these clear pieces of evidence, India today lodged a strong protest with Pakistan. Acting envoy of Pakistan was summoned by the Ministry of External Affairs and was told that Pakistan should desist from supporting terrorists and terrorist groups operating on its soil. The protest was lodged a day after the issue was discussed at a top-level meeting held by Prime Minister Narendra Modi and attended by Home Minister Amit Shah, NSA Ajit Doval, and top officials of intelligence agencies. The seriousness being given by the government at the highest level to this incident highlights that terrorists were planning some major attacks somewhere in Jammu and Kashmir. PM Modi tweeted yesterday that Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists were planning to wreak havoc during the upcoming elections to district development councils in Jammu and Kashmir, and resolutely committed to take all necessary measures to safeguard its national security in the fight against terrorism. So, it will be of interest to see what more steps the government takes against Pakistan. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests Ambassador Sajanhar and Brigadier Vinod Datta. Welcome to the program, sirs.
Thank you. Thank you.
My first question is to Ambassador Sajanhar. India today lodged a strong protest over the terror plot which was foiled in Nagrota recently, and India has expressed concern. So, what are your initial views on this?
My initial views on this are, number one, of course, whenever incidents of this nature take place, India lodges a strong protest. But I would like to say that, in my view, the protest lodged today is different from what has been done in the past, because this has been done with much greater seriousness and seeks to send out a clear message to Pakistan that what it was trying to do is not acceptable at all, because what we were able to intercept and what we were able to, the 4 terrorists who had moved in from Pakistan, and they were planning to carry out a very serious and a very big attack against India. First of all, on the 12th anniversary of 2011, and secondly, to disrupt the elections, the local government elections, the panchayat elections that had to take place from the 28th of November till December. So these were their nefarious activities. And what we had thought was that after this very strong and robust riposte that had been given to Pakistan after the Pulwama attack, to the Balakot strike, that the message had gone out very clearly to Pakistan that if it ever again indulged in an action of this nature, then the response from India would be very muscular, very strong, and the punishment would be very, very severe and very harsh. And that is why we thought that for the last 1 year, 8, 9, 10 months, there had been no such dire terrorist attack from Pakistan against India. But I see what was planned to be done in Jammu as a result of this Nagrota attack that the terrorists were planning, that this nature of a Pulwama too. So I think the message has gone to Pakistan that if it engages in something of this nature, then it should be prepared for a very strong punishment from India. So this is something very serious, and India has taken it very seriously.
Right. I will turn to Brigadier Datta, as Ambassador Sajanhar pointed out, that it is for the, I mean, it's different that usually you protest only after a terror attack takes place. So it is, I mean, India is protesting even before the attack took place. I mean, it was neutralized, the plan was filed. So it's different this time. How do you see that?
Firstly, I want to tell that yes, India has taken a very proactive stance as far as terrorism is concerned. The police was aware of it, and the intelligence agencies had already tipped the police forces that something of this nature is going to take place. And when the these terrorists, they were they were stopped, and then when they were challenged, the driver left the truck, and he ran off. So the police had informed the army also, and the army security forces were also on high alert. They had coordinated the entire operation. And when the firing started, the entire truck was blown. Now, if you see the operations which are taking place in Valley, if you see, Masood Azhar has been under a lot of criticism for the packing order in Pakistan, and secondly, he has not been able to have that kind of sensation in Valley. Be it in terms of killing, be it in terms of recruitment, or be it in terms of finances. So, as I always say, that there are no free lunches, and the Pakistan government and ISI in particular has given, the pink slip to the Jaish leadership, that if they are not able to, make any dent or make any impact in Valley, they.
But Brigadier Datta, I think we thought that Jaish-e-Mohammed or Masood Azhar had been asked to lie low because of FATF pressure after Pulwama.
No, that everybody, all जितनी भी तंजीम है, उन सबको बोला है कि changing of the names, like this Tanzim also changed their name to something called Tehreek-e-Furqan, so that the funding is diverted to these Tanzims. So yes, because the FATF review is due in February, so that is also one reason why he was told to lie low. But yes, he has been struggling for his pecking order as far as these Tanzims are concerned in Pakistan.
Okay, Ambassador Sajanhar, if you talk about the seriousness with which the government has taken, I mean, PM, it's very unusual, Prime Minister tweeting and naming Jaish-e-Mohammed, Pakistan-based Jaish-e-Mohammed is behind it. Isn't it unusual, and does it signal something?
No, absolutely, Ajay. I think it is very, very unusual, and that is one of the reasons why I mentioned that the government is taking it very, very seriously. First, that on one particular incident, that the Prime Minister should take a special meeting in which the participation is of the Home Minister, the participation is of the National Security Advisor, Intelligence Chief, Foreign Secretary, etc., and all these issues are discussed in detail, and for him to come out and give out two tweets on this and mention Jaish-e-Mohammed specifically by name,
And also by
and
Pakistan
also
based. He mentioned that Pakistan based Jaish-e-Mohammed.
exactly, exactly. So I think what we are also trying to do is, because we have seen that as far as Pakistan is concerned, what it wants to do is send out a message to all the other actions that it says it is taking, like this action against Hafiz Saeed, that for 2611, he's been, or two cases, he's been put behind bars 5 years and 5 years, 6
Yeah,
months.
I thought I will come to Hafiz Saeed later, but since you raised this,
Yeah.
but isn't it all farcical? We have seen that such kind
Exactly,
of actions
exactly.
earlier also.
That is exactly what I was coming to, Ajay, that it is all an eyewash, it's all a sham. And it is designed to send out a message to FATF that Pakistan is very serious about taking its responsibilities on curbing terrorist activities, curbing money laundering, etc., etc. But I think with this and with the Prime Minister having come out in the open, and this I'm sure we are going to be taking to the FATF, because now what has come out also in the public domain is an exchange of conversation between the handlers in Pakistan, and
Right.
of course more details will be ferreted out on this and those people who were here. So this link with
Yeah,
Pakistan is
there are clear cut, clear telltale signs. I mean, you have medicines, you have messages on that radio, and this
yes, absolutely. On the
evidence is there.
satellite telephone, you have the satellite phones, you have the messages. So I think all this evidence, meaning I'm sure we should sharing this evidence now with Pakistan, because any time that either Pathankot takes place or Pulwama takes place or some Uri takes place, they say please give us evidence and more evidence and more evidence, so that they are trying to find out where are the loose ends, where are the weak links on their own side, so that those can be removed. But I don't think we should now be sharing any evidence with Pakistan, because it uses its evidence only to make sure that its future activities
Correct.
are foolproof in that sense.
Right.
But we should take this evidence to the FATF and tell them what Pakistan is really all about. Ajay.
So, Brigadier Datta, as Ambassador mentioned, now we have clear evidence, and it will be very helpful in FATF, which is the meeting is coming up in February. What do you say on that?
Yeah, Ajayji, there is a very prominent paradigm shift in the stance. If you see, even our Honorable Prime Minister has been quite vocal and quite focused on his statements. The very fact that he has taken the name of Jaish-e-Mohammed, JEM, cadres involved in it, and he has specifically pinpointed without beating around the bush. And the very fact that he has at various platforms said that the UN Charter or the UN mandate also needs to be redefined.
Right.
And now we have gone past the stage of giving dossiers and giving evidence to the world. Now the actions speak louder than words, and we have had precedents in past. And since America is on board on the terrorist activities, and the new administration, which is likely to be at the helm of affairs in America, is also expressed that yes, we are going to be, India and US are going to be a very formidable partners as far as terrorism is concerned. So it's a very good step, and I think it conveys to the world and Pakistan in particular that yes, we are against terrorism. And I also want to make one more statement. If you see what these countries are not realizing, that it is the Muslim countries which are impacted or which are getting affected by terrorism. Whether you take the case of Afghanistan, Pakistan, Turkey, Syria, and any other country. So they should realize that the onslaught is sooner or later going to come on them. Right. So it is high time that they should wean away from such activities and should think of development because India is going to come quite heavily, and gone are the days when we will present a dossier and they will record their dissent, and then again we will submit it. So it's it's time for an action.
So as you mentioned that it's time for action, Brigadier Datta. And now is it, as you mentioned, that we have to move beyond dossiers and expressing concern. So I have always believed that we have to take the battle to the enemy camp. I mean, I have always believed that war should be fought. You are a soldier, you know better. That war should be fought on the enemy soil, not on our soil. Even today we have seen Rajouri, we have lost one soldier in shelling by Pakistan. So what do you say on that?
Yeah, I agree with you, Ajay ji. देखिए, America is the biggest. He propounds this theory that all his battles have not been, they have been fought on foreign soil.
Right.
And yes, we must. We should not allow any kind of bloodshed in our own country. And today we have such weapon delivery systems. We have such kind of satellites and intelligence which we have, and we have BVR, beyond visual range weapons.
But we have to use. But we have to use them so that enemy also feels the pinch.
Exactly.
Just having
and we have to. Not only we have to use them, we have to use them at the right time. When will
the right time? When will the right time come?
No, the right time is at the right up. I mean, it should not be that we are deliberating. हम देखेंगे, हम ये नहीं करेंगे, अब ये बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जाएगा, इसके ये कर दिया. Those days are over. You have to just gather your acts together and strike before the moment the intelligence is leaked. These big wigs, they leave those terrorist camps. Whether it is in Chikoti, Domel, or wherever, in POK or any other launch pads. So they go into the hinterland. So what we strike is generally those tin sheds and the administrative staff which is left behind.
Okay, Ambassador Sajjan, MEA issued a statement today after lodging protests in Pakistan, and what I found interesting was that in this statement it says, Government of India is firmly and resolutely committed to take all necessary measures to safeguard its national security in fight against terrorism. Is that indicative of something? Maybe like Balaghat?
In my view, it is, Ajay, because I think these are very, very strong words. And also, taking on from what Brigadier Datta was also saying, that we know that the world is with us as far as terrorism is concerned. I think the world has realized that Pakistan is the epicenter of terrorism, wherever the Prime Minister goes. Even more recently, whether it is BRICS Summit, whether it is ASEAN, whether it is SCO, or even before that, all summits, regional, global, or otherwise, the Prime Minister is always speaking about the scourge of terrorism that afflicts the world and how all of us have to act together, have to work together to deal with this menace. And the finger is always pointed towards Pakistan, that it is Pakistan which is the hub of terrorism, from where terrorist actions are taking place, not only against India, against Afghanistan, against Bangladesh. You know about that Dhaka bakery case. There also it was the hand of ISI was quite visible. In fact, any terrorist action anywhere in the world, it finds its linkages to Pakistan. So I think that the message is very clear that if Pakistan does not desist from activities like this, India is fully within its right. This is being stated in so many words. And I agree with the fact that, action has to be, it should not be an action-reaction sort of a thing. We should act at a time and place of our choice, and that decision has been left by the government, by the leadership, to the military commanders. And I think they are the ones who will decide when and where the action has been taken. But I think the message should go out very clearly to Pakistan, to the world, and to the people also of India, that India is fully capable and well within its right to protect its integrity and territorial sovereignty. And I'm sure the meeting that took place yesterday between the intelligence chiefs, between the NSA, Home Minister, etc., I'm sure that there is thinking in that direction definitely has taken place. I'm sure the Pakistan leadership, army, and the government, I'm sure they will be having sleepless nights from now on.
Ambassador Sajjan, as you mentioned, action and reaction. No, so far we have only seen that we act only in reaction. We don't take any proactive action. So when I was talking earlier about taking the battle to the enemy camp, I mean, we have to make our enemy to feel the pinch before they attack us, isn't it?
No, absolutely. And this is exactly what I meant, that, it has to be a preemptive measure. And also, reaction at times gives the impression that the punishment is somehow equivalent to the sort of action that has been created. I think of late what we have started doing is that it is disproportionate punishment. For instance, we saw very recently that when they had in the ceasefire violation, when they had fired at our people, at our troops, we lost about 4-5 of our troops, our brave hearts, but we killed more than 11 of the Pakistani troops. So the damage that is being inflicted on them, that they are being forced to suffer, is much more than the sort of damage that they are imposing upon us. So that also, when the reaction takes place, that also is disproportionate to the action that they have taken, and otherwise also taking the battle to the enemy camp in a proactive and preemptive manner. I think that is also definitely somewhere very high up in the minds and in the thinking and in the planning of the government and of our security forces.
So as a supplementary, Ambassador Sajjanar, I want to ask you or point out rather, since you mentioned that everybody in the world knows that Pakistan is epicenter of terrorism, we have an interesting statement by China yesterday which has appreciated Pakistan's role in countering terrorism across the world. So how do you see that? And it's a UNSC member. I mean, they have a support of UNSC member.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But China is, irrespective of what Pakistan does, China will always come out in support of Pakistan because, that is their strategic partner. They are not going to, even as far as Masood Azhar is concerned, it took us 10 years to get him put in the designated territory. Also, you would recall, I think this is very, very, just after Doklam, when the BRICS summit took place in Xiamen, there it was decided, it was mentioned all the 10 terrorist groups, including Jaish-e-Mohammed, Lashkar-e-Taiba, Tehreek-e-Taliban, Pakistan, they are in the BRICS statement on the 4th, 5th of September.
Right.
But on the 6th of September, the foreign minister of Pakistan goes to China and China says, we are very appreciative of the sacrifices that you are making. But I think it did. If we expect China to change its stance, we should not be expecting it. We'll be living in a fool's paradise. So China will continue to do what it does. But I think we have to protect ourselves. We have to do, and it is not that Pakistan, fighting against terror. Pakistan wants to give out this message that it is also a victim of terror.
Right.
But actually, it's not a victim of terror, it's a victim of its own policies.
Right.
Because it has supported terrorism, all those terrorists also come and bite its hand which has fed it.
Brigadier Datta, as you heard, Ambassador, so we should not expect anything from China. So, but is our messaging to Pakistan clear? Are we giving enough message to Pakistan?
Yeah, Pakistan has been told in very exact and crystal clear words what Ambassador Sajjanar had already brought out, that
no, I'm not talking about in terms of words. I am talking about action. Actions speak louder than words.
If you see Balakot, we had hit the terrorist camps. We never hit any military target. So there was no uproar or there was no criticism as far as the world is concerned. If you see what America did in Barisha in Syria in October 2019 in Operation Jackpot, it was a 30 minutes operation. So we should have such kind of swift operations and we should strike deep. If you see the strategy, Pakistan doesn't have any strategy. If you see the terrorist center, the Markaz Subhanallah, where they can train 600 cadres, it is well within your reach. You can register that target, and simultaneously we should attack like Murid Ke, Manshera, this Markaz Subhanallah, and various other like Domail, Chikoti. And if India is going to attack them simultaneously, these guys are going to be running helter-skelter. and Pakistan is aware of it, that yes, if there is any other misdeed by Pakistan, this thing is going to get unfolded.
Right, I was talking about, we are running out of time on last question, right? I was asking about the same thing, like after Balakot, we have just rested. So my point is, should we keep hammering them from time to time so that we are on the offensive and kind of put them on the defensive? Otherwise, we are on the defensive, we act after, it's a reaction. That is my point. Since you are a soldier, I am asking you as I have been a soldier.
Yeah. You see, what happens is they say offense is the best type of defense.
Right.
So the moment you are on, going hell on leather on such countries, who only understand this language. So we must tell them, yes, this is what is going to follow, and if you are not going to correct yourself, if you are not going to, follow the right actions, the punitive strikes are going to be much more, and they are going to be deep inside the terrorist camps which you are guarding and which you are supporting.
So again, it's a reactionary thing. Ambassador Sajinar, I'll ask you maybe this. It's always a reactionary. We have been feeling the pinch, we have been bleeding, and then we react. Is it time to maybe go on offensive? Brief comments before we conclude.
I agree with you. I think it is time, because we have to be, take preemptive steps. Like, even as far as Ladakh sector is concerned, you remember 27th, 28th of August, we went and captured those heights on the south bank of Pangong Lake. Magar Hill, Helmut Top,
right.
Black Top, etc., etc. This is a preemptive, proactive action that we had undertaken. If we had been delayed even by a day, the Chinese would have come there and would have occupied, and we would not have had that negotiated leverage. So I think as far as Pakistan also is concerned, time has come. Luckily, our intelligence was good, and we were able to find what these terrorists were up to in Nagrota. We were able to annihilate them. But now we need to go, even though the terrorist attack has not taken place, we need to go and send out this very clear message that this is not going to be tolerated. So we have to be proactive and preempt.
Right.
Before
we close, Laman, last question same comment, Brigadier Datta. As Ambassador pointed out, like we did in Ladakh, LAC, can we do it in LOC? Brief comment.
Yeah, we can do it. Yeah, we can do it. Post Kargil, there were a large number of fire assaults which were undertaken, where Pakistan was given a punitive strike. And that time, the resources and the reach was, they were not as advanced as what we have today.
Right.
Today we have, weapon systems which can deliver, deep inside Indian bases, and they can even the most extreme post also can be taken on. So
Right.
we must use this technology.
So we have technology, we have capabilities, we have resources, but only we have to use them. But thank you both of you for participating in this debate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic on Monday. Till then, goodbye.